They didn't go to the zone first.
Did anybody watch the YouTube video? Yeah.
All right. More importantly, did any of you subscribe to my YouTube channel?
Ooh, I didn't know you could.
Oh yeah.
I've never understood.
What did you say, Chris?
So I've never understood what subscribing does, because I've subscribed to things before, but then like nothing has changed about the way I interact with them. What am I like? What should subscribing be doing?
Subscribing helps the channel. So like, the more subscribers you get, the better chance you have to be monetized as a channel, so you can get paid through YouTube, the ads and everything, getting sponsorships and things like that. And then if you like turn on your notifications, if you're really into the channel, every time a new video is posted, you'll get that notification and everything like that. So,
got it. Okay.
You're just helping me out.
I'll definitely go subscribe.
And then it helps the algorithm for YouTube to figure out like what channels and what videos you like. So it'll like, if you subscribe to a channel, those videos will pop up more on your home screen more often.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely go, because I watched the whole thing. It was like, I wanted to go find more recipes because it's super easy to follow.
And as it's cooking, as your sausage is cooking, don't forget to add a little bit of salt. It's always good to continually season your food as it's cooking. Just like a pinch or two in there. That's good.
Substitute.
What are you looking at?
I'll do
What are you guys drinking? White wine?
no, I'm drinking my lime soda. Carrie's drinking a gin and lime soda, and the boys are drinking whiskey.
Nice.
You're drinking
Whiskey.
Well, actually, we're drinking a gin. Do you use lemon?
You know what
You guys sound like your drinks are classier than mine.
Yeah. No, the other.
I'm just drinking PBR.
Yeah. Bourbon.
Bourbon and orange juice. Will Radio is making that. It's really good.
So, Alex, when you said we
What was that? Bourbon and what?
OJ.
Oh.
Does somebody have a question? I thought I heard my name.
I've never had that.
I have a question about draining the oil. I mean, I assume you have to have a bowl and just a small strainer.
So I'm using this strainer, and then there's not going to be that much fat. So all my bowls are in the dishwasher right now. So I'm just using a plate, and it's not going to overflow. There's not that much fat that's going to come out of it. But yeah, just a basic strainer. And if some of the meat falls through, like if you have a really a really big strainer, it's not that big a deal. It's just to get most of the fat so we can then sweat down our veggies.
Hold it down.
And once your sausage is about done cooking, go ahead and turn your heat on like a medium low. Because we want to, when we add our carrots and our onions, that's going to be a slower cooking process because we're trying to pull all the moisture out of the carrots and onions and have that evaporate, so we just have concentrated flavor of the carrot and the onion.
Before we or do strain? Strain the
But
oil.
maybe.
Yeah. I don't know if all the meat will fit in that.
Hey, Alex.
Yes.
So with the draining, are we just draining the oil, or are we draining? Like, are we getting all the meat out too? Does that make
You're going to take all the meat out. You don't want any of the meat in the pan. We're going to add that back later.
Okay.
So your pot should be completely empty. If there's some bits stuck to it, that's okay. That's all going to come off later.
Okay.
And you don't have to wait very long, or and you can continue to add as it's going to keep draining fat as we're cooking down our veggies. And if it keeps draining, just continually pour the oil back into the pot, so we don't have to wait.
The oil's gonna go back into the pot.
All right, so I'm going to take my plate of oil here. It's all that good fat, and then it's going to go right back into our pot.
Hey, Carl.
So you think it's ready?
Yeah. I think you should take a strain of bottom spoon because otherwise this meat's gonna cook. Well, hang on.
And then from there, you can just add all of your carrots and onions.
So it doesn't get dry out.
And then you just want to have your heat on about medium. Nothing too crazy. Just medium.
Anytime. Yeah, absolutely.
Do we put any oil in? No. Yeah.
If it seems like your pot is a little dry, you can add a little bit. But we're just slowly going to cook this down. We're going to lose about maybe a third of the volume that's in the pot right now. You can add a little bit more salt to your veggies too. That's going to help pull that moisture out.
So Alex, can I show you how much oil we have and whether we're supposed to put it in?
So we put some of this oil in?
All that oil can go right in. And then if you feel like you don't have enough, you can add a little olive oil. It's going to be okay. It looks like you have a decent amount there.
You don't put the meat in.
Yeah, don't put the meat back in the pot yet. Just the veggies.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And are we reducing the heat quite a bit?
I'm sorry?
Are we reducing the heat quite a bit?
Yeah, you don't want it to be. Yeah, you don't want it to be super hot. You want it to be about a medium to like medium low. Since I don't want to keep you guys here all night, and so we can eat at a decent time, we're gonna have the heat just a little higher. So I would go between medium and medium high, and we're just really trying to pull all the moisture out of our veggies.
Okay.
This is mine.
I think so, yeah. It's definitely not mine.
Okay, good.
And if you have like almost little burnty bits at the bottom of the pan, that's great. That's gonna come in later, where all that's gonna come off, and that's just gonna be more flavor for the sauce. Like oil.
This is where we'll do the. Well, we could do the gnocchi over here.
This is awesome.
Everyone has their potatoes cooking, right?
Yep.
Where the potatoes cooking?
All right, great.
Yeah.
Right. Really,
What did he just say?
really good, actually.
You do want the moisture to evaporate a bit, right?
Yep, we're gonna try to get rid of all the moisture.
I'm going to reduce it.
No, Mom, I was told today I have good posture.
Wow.
I do.
Kelly.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So
She
you're
told me.
just
Oh,
asking
wait,
about
I should. She told me I have much better posture than I did when I was a freshman.
Who's that?
Should we salt the veggies?
Yep, you can add a pinch or two more of salt. When you add salt to anything, all that does is force the moisture to come out, which is what you want. It's going to push the salt in, and the salt's going to push all the water content out. So it makes everything more flavorful.
Hey, Carrie?
Neutral, which is great.
Kara,
Yeah.
do you give Cooper any credit for that?
No.
I think you should.
He has great texture, but
He's a good model for good posture.
All right, while our veggies are cooking down, if everyone's okay, we can get started on the dessert. And you'll have to forgive me. I'm not Italian, so I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce this correctly. Zabaione. I'm not sure, but basically it's basically just eating creme anglaise. Basically, it's kind of funny. It's basically just cooked egg yolks with sugar with a little bit of alcohol. So, I mean, it's really tasty.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Don't forget to eat together.
Okay, so everyone should have a medium-sized pot with some water in it, and you want to get that on to a decent heat. You don't want it to be like boiling,
All right, so
but a strong simmer.
I'll hop in here.
This was.
That's I bet you like goes crazy.
Does everyone have their egg yolks separated already?
yeah.
All right. Cruising.
You can do it and then just dump them into the strong.
So do we put the bowl on top of it now or wait?
You
Like,
can, if you put it on now, it'll pretty much cover it, and that's okay. But oh shit, too much water in my pot. You don't want the water. So if you can see on mine, I have too much water in there because it's touching the bottom of the bowl, which is what you don't want. It should be right above the water level. So if it's touching the bottom of your bowl, you have too much water in the pot.
I don't know, we need a different bowl, like.
All right, thank you.
Alex, is your bowl all the way in or is it on top of it?
Yeah.
Show me again.
It's on top. It can sit on top. So this is kind of.
Oh, perfect. Oh, great.
Yeah. You just want it to sit in there nicely. The more it goes in, the little bit easier it is to control, so your bowl won't be like moving around. Because when the eggs go in, I'm glad that everyone has at least another person with them. Because this dessert, once your eggs go in and everything goes in, you have to constantly whisk it. Because if you leave it, all that heat's going to do is scramble your eggs. You need to keep it moving so you get that nice even cooking throughout the egg and it doesn't start to curdle and scramble.
So do you want the pot that you have sitting in on top of the water above the water, or is it okay if it's higher than that?
Say that one more time.
The pot, the jar, the bowl you have sitting on top of the pot, or can it be above the water, or does it matter?
It should be above the water. You don't necessarily want it in it because that might be too hot.
Okay.
So you want it to be just above the water level.
I'm just thinking about that now.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I got
And then Alex, do we scramble, or not scramble, but do we mix up the yolks, the sugar, and the marsala all before we put it over here?
Everything's gonna go right into the bowl. I'm gonna try to do this all in one so I can show you guys. That'll go in there like that. And then So this is everything I have here. I don't have marsala. I'm using whiskey actually, but so I turn it down a little bit there. So everything's gonna go in. You just want to start mixing it up. And eventually, your sugar is going to melt down. Everything just goes right in there. You just want to whisk it really fast as soon as it goes in, because if you let it sit, it will scramble. You're going to scramble egg. You just want to keep moving your eggs around. And eventually, it's going to start getting foamy. And then it won't be, and then you'll kind of feel it start to thicken up a little bit. And I'll show you what the end product is supposed to be like. It's supposed to be nice and thick. It should fall off your whisk in a nice ribbon. But I'll show you once we get to that point.
No.
No worries.
Okay, so we have a little bit of a setback going on this side.
Okay. What's happening?
We made a mistake and poured it in water.
Oh, no.
We're doing other eggs right now.
Okay. No problem.
Hey,
Boil more water.
just to let you know, we're a little behind.
Okay.
That's all.
That's no problem.
That will probably shock Alex a lot from having worked with me and Catholic before.
Was it 1 cup of sugar in the?
Yes, 1 cup.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it should be a half a cup of sugar.
Yeah. Okay, you're right.
That's where you had out.
Alex, should we be trying to like whip oxygen, like air into it, getting it sort of bubbly? Like,
No, I mean it's gonna get a little foamy, but you're whisking it to keep it moving. It's
Okay.
not necessarily to incorporate air. So it's already start to get thick. Kind of see how it's like running down, but it's not sticking. It's not quite ready yet. It needs to keep going. It should flow off. You should have one firm strand of egg yolks that's falling from your whisk to the bowl.
got it.
Okay, we're almost back.
Good.
You had it in your bowl. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
All right, now you should start to see that your carrot onion mixture is a lot less. You should be the volume of your veggie should be less by this point.
Ours for sure is.
Okay, that's good. And see, so I'm starting to get some nice fond here. It's a little foggy here, but
What does that mean, font?
so fond is like the kind of burnt bits that get stuck to the bottom of your pot there. But that's okay. That's a good thing. And if you're in the middle of your eggs, still whipping your eggs, just turn your sauce pot on low. And we'll come to that in a second. But my egg yolks are about there. It's getting nice and creamy. Tastes good. And that whiskey comes through. All right, so my egg yolks are good. I'm not getting a super good ribbon, but I can tell they're done. If I keep them going, they're probably just going to scramble anyways. But they're nice and thick. It almost is like pudding now.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you want. This is my whiskey. All right, so I turn the heat off of my egg yolks, and I'm gonna put that into a glass, and that's gonna go into the refrigerator to enjoy later.
And you put the masala in there, right?
I did 3/4 cup.
So this dessert also, if you wanted to, it could be eaten hot right as it's done, or you can let it chill in the refrigerator for an hour or so and eat it cold. And it's good with just some fresh berries and whipped cream on top. So here's my final product for the dessert. It's kind of jiggly there. It's a little runny, but it's not too bad.
You want to hold that just a second. Want to look at this first? Look at the texture of that. See it in the second right here? So we've got a ways to go.
That's okay.
Okay.
If you feel like it's not progressing fast enough, you can turn your heat up. As long as you're paying attention to it and you're constantly whisking, you can turn your heat up and it'll cook faster.
Yeah. We're getting there.
Okay. How are we looking on everyone's on our veggies here?
Veggies look good over here.
All right, I think we're then ready for our next step for the veggies. If we're all okay there.
I think ours still have a little bit of a moisture look.
Okay, I mean they're gonna look wet still. It's gonna there's still gonna be some moisture in there. You're not gonna get it completely dry. But you should, before I could kind of coat the entire bottom of my pan with ease. But now that there's a lot of moisture gone, it's a little more difficult. And that's what you're looking for.
Okay, good. Is everybody there? You guys there, Kendall and Chris?
Okay, we're good?
We're a little behind, I think, but
Okay, then we're good. So
we'll try to catch up.
So
We're really trying to get the girls to go a bit quicker, but
let's go, Chef. Service is in half an hour. We got to get this out.
Oh my gosh. That would be stressful.
It's quite stressful to work in kitchens, let me tell you.
Oh, I'm sure.
The first restaurant I worked at when I first came to Chicago, I lost 30 pounds.
Wow.
Just from stress and anxiety and running and not eating much and yeah, so.
And what was
Okay, so I'm sorry.
which was your first restaurant?
Here in Chicago is a restaurant called Alinea.
Okay.
Oh my God. Isn't that where Karen Lawrence goes?
It's like the best one of the best
That's a great
restaurants.
restaurant.
It's been rated as top restaurant in the world. It's
Yeah.
not anymore. Now it's just one of the top restaurants. But
I can see why that was stressful.
it was quite stressful. But okay, so with our veggies, we want to get our pot turned all the way up to really high because we're gonna deglaze with either white wine or chicken stock. I'm using some chicken stock here.
Okay.
And you want your pot to be super hot. So when you pour your chicken stock or white wine in, you can scrub off all of the fond that's stuck to the bottom of your pot, and all that flavor will get released.
okay.
So and that's why wooden spoons are particularly great because you don't have to worry about scratching any of your pans. So I'm going to take my chicken stock and pour it in.
I'll put on a glove.
And I'm going to start scrubbing away at the fond in the bottom here.
That might be 2 wins.
I got all the burnty pieces off the bottom now. They're all gone. Now that's just good flavor.
Okay, I'll go over there. I can go over there and screw this stuff.
I think it was working. It's only, and I think it was thick. It starts to thicken.
Is anyone using white wine to deglaze with?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're using white wine, you want to make sure you reduce that enough because you want to basically cook off the alcohol, and you just want the flavor of the wine. It shouldn't take long just because you're using kind of a small amount. So you can see here in my pot, I still have a little bit of moisture in there, and that's okay. You want it to like almost be gone, but not really. You still should be able to see the moisture, but basically gone, if that makes sense. And then once you're to that point, go ahead and turn your pot down to a medium low, and then you can go ahead and add in your sausage into there, and all your tomatoes.
So can you repeat once what?
Once your white wine or your chicken stock has reduced enough, you can add your all your sausage and all your tomatoes into the pot.
How is Alex doing all of this by himself? And it takes all of us like 3 or 4 people to do it.
I've been doing this for a while.
So are the tomatoes supposed to be diced?
Like the raw tomatoes?
Yeah.
They can. I just did chunks. They're all going to cook down. So you see, I just kind of quartered them. They don't have to be anything specific because it's all just going to cook down and kind of just blend into the sauce. You won't even have chunks by the time this is done.
Great. Good to know.
And then once you're to that point, all you have to do is have it on like a medium heat. And then you can cover it. And that's pretty much it. You just let that cook until it's a consistency that you like. And then we're going to season it with more salt, pepper, fresh basil if we have it, anything you really want to put in there. I like to add some chili flakes. But
Is anybody else done with their dessert?
No.
Okay, ours is starting to thicken.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I just want to make sure we weren't the only ones.
If it's starting to thicken, then you're doing good. As long as you're not seeing the little like curds in there, then you're on the right track. You'll know pretty quickly if you scrambled your eggs.
We might be going to.
I am going to move. So I'm going to move my sauce pot to one of my back burners, so it'll cook, and then I can put the pan I'm going to char my the radicchio on up front.
Oh my God. You need a
No,
How's everybody's potatoes looking?
oh yeah. I never thought of where that comes from. Up against the wall, yeah.
Which?
Yeah.
Just like this size pan for the radicchio?
Yeah, that'll work. Any pan will work. I'm using a cast iron just because that was the first one I saw. But anyone, we're just gonna get it super hot with some oil, and then we're just gonna throw the radicchio in there.
We might be done. Hey, Alex.
Yes.
Can you give me some analysis on if we're there? Ready?
Okay.
A little longer,
Yep.
or are we trying to get to a good angle? I'm also not trying to stop whipping.
Right. It looks pretty good. How's it taste?
I haven't tried it yet. Let me see.
What taste?
I still taste the wine a bit. Is that okay?
You will. That's okay. You're gonna taste the wine. It's just because you didn't like cook it down first. That alcohol is gonna be there. I think that's kind of the point. You know, it's Italians. They love their wine. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, then I think we're probably pretty close.
Okay. Yeah. It's not gonna be super thick. It's not gonna be as thick as a pudding, but you just want it to. Yours looked good.
Okay.
I think you're there.
Okay, Alex, how about that one?
I think that looks good too.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that looks pretty good. I'm not an expert in this dessert, and it's kind of hard to see over the cameras, but it looks pretty good. And as long as it tastes good, that's what really matters.
I think we're pretty good.
How's everybody's potatoes doing in the oven there?
Ours are finished. Ours
Okay.
are.
Is anyone ready to kind of get started on the gnocchi here? We kind of got to do this while the potatoes are still a little hot.
I feel like maybe we should communicate a little bit. I think we
Yeah, we'll do. I'll do this.
That's hot.
So what do we do with the pudding again? We put it in. Can we put
So
it in?
you can put it in individual cups if you want. You could probably put the whole thing in the fridge if you'd like. I did a half recipe. I'm not supposed to be eating sugar right now, so I didn't make very much. So yeah, anything you can put it into like what you'd want to eat it out of, basically. So like a nice little ramekin if you have them. Something like this is always nice, or a wine glass. You know, whatever you have. Bowls, mason jars. The world's your oyster.
Use a spoon or something.
That smells
Does it?
Alex, we're ready to go on potatoes when you and everybody else is.
Okay, great. Does anyone have is anyone using a food mill or a strainer for their potatoes?
I'm using a food mill.
So all I'm doing right now is I cut my potatoes all in half. I cut my potatoes in half. I'm scooping them out into a bowl. And I don't have a food mill or a proper strainer for this, so I'm just going to be using a fork. And all you have to do is just kind of mash your potatoes up. You don't want to go too crazy. You just want to make sure there's not like a lot of lumps. And I overcooked mine a little bit. I have some like kind of crunchy bits in there, brown pieces, which isn't necessarily what you want. It'll work right now. This isn't for actual service, so it's okay if you have those. But you just want to try to have as smooth a potato as possible.
Hey, Alex,
Yes.
can you repeat the amount of canned tomatoes? Is it 1 pound, 12 ounces, or 1 12-ounce can?
1 12-ounce can.
Okay. Okay, so we need just one.
Yeah, just less than one.
So we need to start cleaning this out. Clean the bowl and try not to get this really crisp one.
I feel like it's so unlucky. I was trying to be prepared. I was like,
This whole, it's hot though, be careful.
Yeah, be careful with your potatoes as they come out.
Not yet.
I'll let you do it.
Yeah.
Well, these potato chips are awesome. You know what?
Move, you can move.
So these are my potatoes. I just kind of smash them up with a fork here. Nothing too crazy.
You just gotta start adding flour in.
So is any of it ready to go?
Have we charred the radicchio yet?
No. Salad's going to be very last just because that's not going to take very long. That'll be a very quick process. And so I wanted to get these gnocchis going because these take a little more time.
We don't have the pan going yet.
That's fine. Yeah, your pan for the radicchio doesn't need to be going. I just was kind of pre-staging myself here, but you definitely don't need that quite yet.
Do you like them?
They seem really good to me. It seems like we're going to clean the food.
Now, the best way to do the gnocchi is you want to have it out of the bowl and onto a clean surface. Try to really show you guys what I'm doing here. So I know in the recipe it calls for 1 cup of flour, but you might not need that much and you might need a little bit more. It kind of depends on the size of your potatoes and the potatoes you actually used. My potatoes were really small, so I had to use a few more than what the recipe called for. So it's just really all about feel, which I know is kind of tough. I'm not there to kind of like feel it for you. But you just want it to come together. It shouldn't be sticky and it shouldn't be super firm. So
Can I move this cookie sheet or you?
You'll need it for the gnocchi. When you're using the mill, can you mill over any bowl?
yeah, that doesn't matter.
Okay. So that's what we're doing next.
This is your wine, right? Mark?
Yes.
Mill potatoes?
No, I want to see the kids do what they're doing.
They're doing gnocchi. They don't have any.
So what's up with those? They don't have enough.
Some milk.
Okay,
They're
so
doing something different to help.
All right, so I'm going to start slowly adding flour to my potatoes, and I'm using a bench scraper like this, and I'm just kind of cut into the potatoes. You don't want to use your hands too much and like overwork it because your gnocchi will end up being really dense because you're going to overwork the gluten in the flour. So you just kind of want to slowly incorporate it.
bring that spoon down.
Yeah. Yeah, he's using the scraper thing to fold it together. the potato mash.
Where's the phone?
And once you start using your hands, you're gonna see how much the potatoes can actually hold the flour, because you're gonna feel how sticky it gets, especially when you add your egg.
When do we add the egg? Not yet, right?
I add just about half of your flour. You kind of want a decent dough ball before you add your egg.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do that now. I make a little well in my potatoes here. Put my egg in there. And then this is what I used the bench scraper for as well. You can kind of get a little messy, but just kind of work that into your dough. And you can definitely make gnocchi without egg if you wanted to. The egg just kind of really helps with it as a binder. A lot more flour in this.
Well, did you buy this? Is this no, we have one, but it's much bigger. It's for apples.
I think we need to look at
Huh? Man, you are raising the bar. You are seriously raising the bar.
And don't forget about your sauce on the stove. Make sure you're kind of checking on that, keep an eye on it. Make sure you're adding a little more salt. Give it a stir.
I think it's enough.
Gnocchi's made with potato. Did you do it with?
Alex, do we need to flour a pan to put the gnocchi on?
Like when you're done.
When you cut it.
When you cut it, yeah, you do want to have a sheet tray or something with some flour on it.
Great.
So that way it's not sticking and you have an easier time of getting it into your pot.
Awesome. I saw yours was flour. That's what that.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're good.
So what am I doing with this now?
We need to ask him. I think we're putting it on the counter.
Are we doing flour with it?
So did we put the potato on the counter? Yep.
Yep. That's what I'm doing. You're gonna need space to kind of keep rolling it out, and it's hard to keep doing that in a bowl. So
first.
Yeah.
In here, look at
On the ground.
Oh, so I think
You're going to be doing what
That's
you do with
plenty.
bread. Yeah.
Yep. And then you slowly work it in there.
With it.
And then he said once you've got half the flour in, then you add the egg.
and you're gonna feel once you get that egg in there and it comes together, you're gonna feel how much flour it needs because it shouldn't be sticky. You should be able to roll it with ease and not stick to the countertop.
so. It's hard to talk because we're so.
Yeah, but it's kind of fun.
I'm calling it. They're so focused.
They're laughing.
They're forwarding it. That's always hard.
You got 3 and 2 dogs.
I heard something be on track.
Mm-hmm.
All right, right, so my dough is pretty good. It's still pretty loose. It should kind of feel like Play-Doh almost, maybe a little looser than Play-Doh.
Okay.
Yours is for sure.
Should be very moldable.
Begin now.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You can kind of see very soft.
Nice.
Look at nothing on there.
Is that a
Michelle.
great egg dish?
Right out.
So at this point, if someone is free, get your pot of water to a boil, so we can blanch these guys
So now,
when they're ready.
now, guys, I think you need more flour. Just drink it.
Ask him again.
Yeah.
Use this, not your hand. Yeah?
Well, that initial part I needed to,
What do you think?
just to go
Do
through.
you put the all this today or just
We'll see.
What do you mean? That's so interesting. How do you decrease gluten?
I have to ask him. It's not a YouTube video. I'll show it to you in person.
You start at like,
How's everybody gnocchi feeling?
what do you think?
Alex, what's the risk of adding too much flour?
Too much flour can make your gnocchi dense and kind of tough. It'll make them really chewy. And they'll be okay. They're not going to be like terrible or anything. It's just going to be not as pleasant of a texture.
It's okay.
You didn't know?
For me?
Yeah.
It's me. Do you want to show it? You should be able to roll it out and cut it. Yeah. You might need more flour.
You said Play-Doh, but a little looser, right?
Yeah.
Cool. We're about there.
All right, great. So if you're getting to a good point where your dough feels nice, then it is time to start rolling and cutting. So it's better to work with workable pieces. You don't need to take your entire ball of dough and try to make that work. I usually cut it down into pieces just so it's a little easier. I'm going to do mine in thirds. So I have 3 different balls of dough now. And I'm just going to throw a little flour down on my countertop. And then you start using both hands and roll it into a log. And this could be as thick or as thin as you really want it to be. It doesn't have to be anything specific. I've made really tiny gnocchi and I've made really big gnocchi. So you just want to try to make it as even as possible. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect. And so something like that is good.
that's okay.
And then roll it. No, potatoes, no, potatoes, not sure.
You roll it half in. Because then you're gonna cut the gnocchi.
All right, how are we looking on gnocchi, everybody?
I think that's too thick.
Yeah, me too.
This is about the size I'm working with for my gnocchi.
The size in his hand. Yeah.
And then I'm just putting them onto my flour cheat tray here.
Maybe see.
Maybe this one. Yeah. Can look up. No, it's good.
Now these are just a very basic gnocchi. If you wanted to like really kick it up a notch, you could make the grooves with a fork or get a gnocchi board and kind of learn how to roll them and get those like really cool ridges that you'll see in a lot of gnocchi. I do not have a gnocchi board, so the only reason the ridges are even there, it's just to kind of like it helps the gnocchi cling to the sauce a little bit better, but it's not necessary. It's just kind of more of an aesthetic thing.
What is the
Okay. So that's it. Right.
What happened?
gnocchi left over.
You can use that.
Gnocchi dough is really great if you just cut it and freeze it after and not even put it in the boiling water. It holds really well in the freezer, and then from there you kind of just drop it right into boiling water whenever it's ready. But if you do blanch it, it'll keep for a few days in the fridge if you don't eat it right away.
Is it okay to refrigerate it, or do you want us to freeze it right now?
What's that?
Do you want us to, can we put it in the refrigerator, or does it need to go in the freezer?
Oh, right now it's fine. It can stay out. It's nothing's gonna.
Oh, good. Okay, I was gonna put it in the refrigerator. Okay.
I'm sorry.
I just meant for if you didn't want to eat it all right now, it'll hold in the freezer, and then when you do want to cook it, you can just drop it right into boiling water whenever you want it. But if you blanch it first, I wouldn't recommend freezing it. But if you blanch it, it'll still hold in the refrigerator for a few days and still be just as good.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. If we are going to freeze a part of it and we've got it in a long strip,
I don't know. So
we can.
You want to make it into these before you freeze it. You want to have them individually cut before you freeze it.
We don't have something to put that.
Baking.
Then you
Baking. Glass baking dish.
put it
No, we need to call these. I just want to put these ones in the fridge. Yeah, in the freezer. Once you come over here, you can just I'll cut them and you can put them right in.
Douglas, we get the potato skin or on a plate.
Probably how long did it take you to prep?
All right, how's everybody's gnocchi looking?
Yeah.
Need to once you stack, you need to stack more or just put it up into wax paper.
Yeah.
He doesn't think he's gonna move it.
You guys are also going to want to make sure you have a plate or a tray ready for when your gnocchi come out of the water.
We're not yet.
Are we gonna need to a colander to drain them, or are we just gonna wait till they float up?
You're gonna drop it in. You don't want to drop too many in. It depends on the size of your pot, but you don't want to overcrowd it because that's gonna reduce the heat very quickly in your pot, and you want to make sure it's kind of staying at that boiling temperature the whole time. But as soon as your gnocchi float, they're done. That's how you know gnocchi are done, is when they float to the top, you're good to go.
Is there one?
And then your water, your blanching water for your gnocchi should have a lot of salt in it.
What about oil?
You can put some oil in there too. We're gonna oil the gnocchi when they come out. It does help if you put some oil in the pot because then it'll kind of coat it as you're lifting it out, but it's not completely necessary. But you do want to make sure it's very well salted.
Does that mean like 3 pinches?
Here, I'll show you.
I love salt.
Anytime you're blanching, whether it's vegetables or anything like that, you want your water to taste like the ocean. That's how much salt should be in there.
Show me how much you're putting in.
So here's this.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice and salty.
The one is probably so some can go on the stove and some are just oh, you're googling if that thing can go on the stove. You're looking at me like, what are you doing?
The can?
No, the crusade thing, the white thing.
What is that? It's called a La Crusade?
Le Creuset?
I didn't.
Le Creuset. It's a brand.
Are we going?
It just asked.
I think so. Yeah.
What am I asking? Alex,
Yes.
do you know whether a Le Creuset can go on the hob, the stovetop?
It should be able to. I mean, you mean just like on a burner?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my pots are all Le Creuset.
Perfect. Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, they should be.
That's
I mean,
what
mine are cast iron. I'm not sure what you guys what the material is, but I think most Le Creuset is cast iron, and absolutely that can go on. I put mine on the stovetop. I'll throw it right in the oven. They're well-made pots.
Cool.
They can handle it. Okay, so I'm going to drop my first round of gnocchi here. So I'm going to use my bench scraper. I'm just dropping a couple here.
Okay.
Normally, I wouldn't try to throw in as much flour into the water as I'm doing, just because I have one-handed here. So I did about half of mine.
Here.
Like that many? Little
Because
pinchers.
Marie said you don't want to. Do we have a slide of spoon?
And then when they do drop in, you can just give them a really gentle stir just to make sure they're not sticking to one another, not sticking to the bottom of the pan. Just really gentle though.
You want to put them on the plate?
Yeah.
How's everybody's sauce looking? We've been stirring it, giving it a little extra salt. Mine's already. All my tomato chunks are pretty much gone out of there.
Like actually, that should go on the Like I don't think it's good, but I'll still look.
Alex, so you put half the gnocchi in, and you're gonna wait for those to cook, and before you put the other half in.
Yep. Yeah. You always want to make sure your water is maintaining that boiling temperature. And so anytime you add something to it, it's going to immediately drop the temperature down. So when you take those gnocchi out, you want to make sure your water comes back up to a boil before you drop more in.
Okay.
So I already have mine are starting to float here.
How long do we let them float for?
If they're floating, they're done.
Oh, cool.
So I'm going to probably take. Yeah, if they're not bobbing or anything, and they're right at the top there, they're good to go. I'm sorry, I wasn't focused on there. And since this isn't the absolute final cooking of these, if they're like kind of barely above or like right below the surface, they'll be okay too, and you can pull those out. So I'm gonna pull all these guys out. And your pan that you're putting your gnocchi onto, you do want oil on there. And then I'm going to put mine right into the freezer just so they can start cooling off as fast as possible.
Yeah. You want to do Here's what I serve. We'll just order from a pasta plate.
These are supposed to go here, right? Yes.
They're supposed to be in a grease. You get all these like good deals at restaurants. Yeah.
Is everybody blanching their gnocchi?
Yep.
All right.
Oh yeah.
We are.
All right.
How about the 4-pack? Kendall, Chris, Kindred, Cooper.
You went to the Star Wars one too.
What's up?
Where are you guys? Somewhere. Yeah, where are you?
We're far behind.
Okay, tell us how far behind.
Well, okay, so one problem we have is that we're doubling the recipe, so everything's taking a really long time.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Because there's 4 of us.
Yeah, but like we're doing well.
Cooper looks like he's over watching TV or something. I mean, Chris.
I'm mainly in like a observing role.
Chris already had his cooking class.
Yeah. Chris knows how.
No, I think it's going better than they're saying. I think it's the sauce is coming up quite nicely.
And did they finish the dessert?
Yeah, the dessert looks good. Yeah, that's in the fridge.
It's
That's
there
all good.
then.
And then the gnocchi is kind of getting ready to go in the water.
Wonderful. Oh, you're
Okay.
good.
I think it's
Yeah,
just
you guys are good. You're not too far behind.
What were you gonna say, Carrie?
our sauce is gonna take a long time to reduce.
Yeah.
Got it.
I think our quantity was just a bit more challenging.
Yeah, that makes sense. So your sauce is going to take a little bit longer. You could turn the heat up a little bit to kind of get that to go a little bit faster. You just got to make sure you're keeping an eye on it so it doesn't burn on the bottom. But if you do have the heat up a little bit more, it'll be okay.
Yeah, that's what we've done at the moment. So yeah,
Okay.
Speed it.
Chris and Kayla, where are you guys? Are you on?
We just took the gnocchi out. It's in the freezer. I think we're on track.
Awesome.
All right.
Except for our computer might die. But.
Oh no.
What's that?
Oh. Hey, Alex.
Yes.
Should we be reserving any of the pasta water?
No. As soon as that's done, we're done with that.
Okay.
And then when your gnocchi come out, you can give it a little spray of oil just to make sure they're not kind of sticking to each other. And when they go in the freezer, you're not trying to actually freeze them. You're just trying to like drop that temperature so they stop cooking. So don't leave them in there for too long, just like maybe 3 minutes, something like that.
You just to stop it from cooking.
Yeah.
Normally, you'd want to use an ice bath and like drop it into some like really cold ice water. I don't have. I didn't do that just because I don't have an automatic an ice maker, so it's kind of a pain to use the tray ice over and over again. So I just put it in the freezer and that works. It's not as fast, but it does the trick.
While we're hanging out, how should we prep the radicchio?
Because it's not
The radicchio. So the radicchio is just going to go into like a super hot pan, and you're not going to really touch it. You just want to like get that char on there, and as long as the rest of your stuff is ready for the salad, the only thing left to do is kind of sear the gnocchi in the pan, drop some, or we're going to finish the sauce actually. That's probably our next step.
But should we be cutting the radicchio in a certain way?
So the way I cut mine is like kind of some like thicker strips here. So they're kind of nice and big, so it's more surface area, so you can actually get the char. Because if you cut it too thin, it's not going to work quite as well. So it's just a little thicker.
Okay, cool.
And then I already have. I have my olive oil measured out, a lemon, and that's kind of it. Super simple.
We should. Yeah, definitely.
I love how simple it is. So we put olive oil. Is he doing that now?
You just had
What's that?
Should I put the salad dressing together?
You can if you want to. You could mix up your olive oil, salt and pepper, and lemon juice. You can go ahead and do that as well. So I know we're waiting. I know Kendall, Chris, Carrie, and Cooper have a little bit longer on their sauce, but if everyone else's has been cooking for a little while, make sure you're tasting it and kind of seeing what flavor it needs. If you have fresh basil, that'll be the very last thing you want to throw in there, because if you throw it in too early, basil just turns black, and it won't taste as good in the end result.
Leave it open for a second.
Oh, shoot, see there.
I need to add more salt.
add salt.
You just taste it.
So if you guys want, you don't have to. I just tasted my salad dressing and it's a little sharp for me, so I'm just gonna add like a tablespoon of honey. That really helps with the vinaigrette.
Yeah.
If it's a little too sharp.
In fact, adding salt does the very opposite of making water boil faster. Instead, it makes it take longer for the water to boil. Salt actually increases the boiling point of the water.
What are you saying?
Oh man.
You guys doing cooking research?
We had a bit of a debacle over here. I suggested we add salt to the water to make it boil faster, but we've just learned through a quick Google search that, in fact, it makes the water boil slower to add salt.
Is it true?
But eventually it'll boil faster.
Is it true?
You do want to be careful about adding salt beforehand, because if you don't get to it soon enough and that water starts to reduce, your water is going to be really, really salty. I usually wait for it to boil and then I'll add my salt.
Well, it sounds like we're right on point over here.
All right.
Outing himself. That's ruining dinner.
Oh man.
How's everybody's sauce tasting?
Good. Sauce looks great. Yeah, it's tasting really good.
Good. Perfect.
It's great.
Good.
It's a little thicker. What's yours look like?
That's what I got.
Wow.
We don't have enough sauce in ours.
Yeah, ours could use a little more tomato sauce.
I've got tomato sauce. Should I add it? Like tomato, I have those.
Tomato sauce, yeah.
Yeah, if you have another can of tomato sauce, if it looks a little dry, go ahead and add some. Just make sure to continue to season it, because most canned tomatoes aren't seasoned with anything, and so you're going to want to make sure you add some more salt and pepper and everything.
Did it not start? No. Okay, just keep an eye on
This morning.
If you ever want to add any of like dried herbs, so if you have dried basil, oregano, or anything like that, you want to make sure you add that earlier rather than later, because it takes longer to pull flavor from dried herbs than it does fresh. Does anyone have fresh basil that they're using?
I couldn't find any in 2 grocery stores that I've gone to.
Oh no, that stinks.
I know. There's a big snowstorm supposedly.
Okay.
Up on their basil.
All the basil.
So if you do use basil, you don't want to cut it much. Don't. I'll show you here.
I didn't know that bit. I thought it's all just a taste before. But yeah. I think it was just.
Well, it is for taste.
Bruce, don't you think you take it up?
Learn something new.
Bruce,
So if you have fresh basil like this, you want to cut it as little as possible because it will, it's going to bruise very quickly. So you just want to do a very quick rough chop on it. And that's it. That's all you want to do with your basil.
Like, I'm realizing I want to get off this.
Yeah, you said you didn't
I wish we had basil.
And then, like, hop back on later.
And if your sauce tastes like a little too acidic from all the tomatoes and everything, I usually add like a tablespoon or so of sugar, a little pinch. Kind of helps. Doesn't make it taste necessarily sweet, but just kind of cuts down the acidity a little bit.
Lots of
Yeah.
It is saucy as theirs. It's
All
okay.
right, my sauce is at a good spot. Is anyone else ready to start our salad?
Yes.
Okay. So that's pretty basic. So I'm using this pan here, and I'm going to get it really hot. You want it smoking.
Hey.
So if you have your arugula ready and your cheese and your dressing, you can go ahead and dress that now. I'm going to add some cheese into there. Salt. I'm also throwing some roasted pepitas that I happen to have in the house into my salad as well. All right, so my pan is smoking. I'm going to add some oil to it. Generous amount of oil there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and lay my radicchio. Right on there. You don't want to move the pan too much. Let it really char on there. Don't forget to add salt to it. Some pepper.
I don't know.
Now, once you start to see some color, you can kind of gently flip it as best you can. You want to try to keep some of these pieces intact.
How charred do you let it go?
That's kind of up to you. That's kind of a personal preference. You can let it get super dark if you want, or just a little bit. It's kind of up to you. I like mine pretty charred, so I'm leaving mine in there for a little bit longer. It should be pretty wilty. Obviously, you want it to cook long enough so it's not raw tasting, because radicchio is kind of bitter. So you don't want it to be. If you don't cook it too long, it'll be a little bitter.
We have a right there. Yeah.
All right, and then this is kind of the bit of the final product of the salad here. Kind of put the radicchio on the bottom there. Put the salad on top, and then just drizzle a little more of the dressing around it.
It goes in the bottom, and then you place the salad on top. Yeah, small salad. I know, but if you look, he's got enough trouble.
All right. Does anyone else have their gnocchi and their sauce all done? We could plate that if we're at that point.
I wonder if you should plate yours if you want to be done. I mean, because I think Kendall and Chris and Karen Cooper, are you about 10 minutes behind?
Don't worry about us.
No, we want to eat with you.
So everything is right for us.
Yeah, we're totally, and
Yeah.
Okay.
Think
well, I can show you on my end, so everyone can kind of see how to put the final dish together.
So
and then when everyone's done, you can kind of. So I have a nonstick pan here.
Oh, okay.
That I'm going to use for my gnocchi. You don't have to use a nonstick pan, but it helps. Sometimes the gnocchi, they can be a little sticky. If it's not nonstick, they can kind of come apart. And you want to try to crisp them up so they have that really nice color and a little bit of texture on there. So I'm getting my pan pretty hot.
Now, can you put a little oil in the gnocchi or?
Yep, we're gonna put a little oil in there. I'm just letting the pan get hot first, and then I'm gonna put some oil in there. And you can use any oil you want. I usually use like vegetable oil or canola oil, just a very neutral oil. I use olive oil sometimes. It's really nice, but sometimes it can, it doesn't have as high of a smoke point as some other oil, so it can kind of go rancid really quickly, depending. But olive oil is good. All right, so my pan's hot. I'm gonna add some oil in there.
No, you can put the oil now. Add the oil to it then.
All right, so I'm gonna take some of my gnocchi and drop them in there.
Yeah, you can bring it out.
I'm just gonna let those sit there. I'm not gonna try to touch them too much, and try to get a nice color, nice coating on each side. It should be nice and golden brown.
So do you end up burning each of them individually?
No, I'll just flip it by hand. If they're not 100% completely coated or have like a nice crispiness all the way around, it's okay. One side is better than no sides, but if you really want to go that extra mile and flip them all individually, you definitely can.
I don't.
Okay. No problem with that. I don't blame you. And I already have a ladle. I have a ladle on my sauce ready to go because I'm going to be ladling the sauce right into the pan there.
Oh, okay.
Ready?
Kendall? Watch Chris. Watch
They're not very dark, so my pan wasn't hot enough when I put my gnocchi in. That's why they're not getting that good color on there yet. I rushed it.
That's good to know.
Get some good color on there.
So, Alex, during this,
Yeah, go ahead.
Have you done a lot of cooking with people?
Not until recently. Kind of the pandemic kind of forced me into that a little bit more. I started doing private events, and then this is the second online cooking class I've done, so it's been kind of fun. So it's always I worked at a country club in Florida, and I always enjoyed doing like the pasta station on the buffet line because it was always fun to interact with people and talk to them and stuff. So like these ones here, kind of see those a little closer. Like that's kind of the color you're looking for. Oh, shoot, my camera shut off. Is it still there? Oh.
Yep.
My camera shut off. There we go. Okay. So a nice golden brown color on there. They're looking good. And add So I'll tell you guys too, if you want to know how to saute things, get that good flip, a lot of people like to try to go out and in, kind of moving like that. You just want to angle your pan down and just go up. Don't try to pull it back towards you, or else you're going to be wearing it. All right. Put this over here. Nope.
Kendall, you watching?
I've decided to take a step back from cooking.
Okay, there we go.
Too many cooks in the kitchen?
Yeah. I'm gonna watch. Ooh, the plating.
Look at this. Look at this. He's plating. Look at that.
Wow.
And then some pecorino or some Parmesan. That's it.
Wow.
Great.
Wow.
That looks so
That's
good.
it. It's pretty simple. It's kind of like a lot of work in the beginning, but it's a pretty quick meal. And if you make a lot of gnocchi, and you can just keep them in the fridge or in the freezer, and if you make enough of the sauce, you can put that in the freezer too and thaw it out when you need it. And it's kind of it's really nice to have laying around. And so it's a nice little dinner. So we got the pasta and the salad here. I don't have all the nice things to make the dessert look nice, unfortunately, but I would plate that and make it look nice, but I don't have any stuff. I'm trying to get back on a healthier diet, not eat as much sugar and dairy and everything. So
yeah.
Well, thank you. We're gonna enjoy that.
yeah, I'm glad. Is anyone else making their plates? Or are we waiting for everyone to be on the same page here?
I think we're gonna wait and catch up. Let them catch up.
Okay.
How far behind are you?
We've cooked some of the
Gnocchi?
some of the food.
Some of the food.
Wait, what are you stressing about?
We're not totally 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think
we're
pretty far.
Yeah, I think what we should do ultimately for us is probably you guys should enjoy your food and we'll stay on, but we're going to keep cooking because I think it's going to take us a bit longer.
Okay.
But
salad. Wow, thank you. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me and letting me teach you guys. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, it's really fun.
We will definitely do this again. This is
Yeah,
really
let me know. And if there's anything else, I've done 2 Italian things. So if we want to try a different menu, I wanted to do something Asian because I love Asian cooking. Maybe dumplings would be fun.
Ooh, yeah. Love that.
Yes.
So
maybe we'll plan in April. That could be fun.
Okay.
Maybe we could plan another one in April and do dumplings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, just let me know and we'll work something out.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for joining me tonight. Thanks for having me, and I hope you guys enjoy your food and the rest of your evening.
We're so excited. Thank you, El.
No, wait. Actually, I have a question. Hold on.
Yeah.
Sorry. With the custard, so we just put it in like little bowls, add the raspberries on top, and that's the dessert.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty much it. Yeah, it's just a really simple, quick thing.
Yeah.
I know the last time we did it, I tried doing the chocolate mousse, but that kind of proved a little difficult with certain equipment that I had. So I wanted to do something even more simple. So
that chocolate mousse turned out great.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad.
Yeah, it was lovely.
It was very good. We took it to. We saw my cousin afterwards, and we took them one of them to share and try, and they loved it.
Good.
Who's good?
Yeah, sometimes I get ahead of myself, and it's like, well, people have this equipment, right? Everyone's got to have the same equipment I do, and so I forget sometimes that I'm a professional. I do this for a living, and not everyone has the same equipment as I do. But
So do you work
either way?
Do you work at
a restaurant
now as it opens up?
I don't work at a restaurant right now because of the pandemic. I ended up losing my job back in March, but I am been doing, like I said, I've been doing private events, and I actually just started a job at a coffee shop here making donuts, which is pretty cool. Yeah, nothing serious, but it's just kind of fun. It's a few hours in the morning, and just making some donuts and having fun with it. So
you got someone who wants to be a barista. Make sure she gives you her name. She can be a barista, and you make the donuts.
Yeah. I know. I want to learn how to be a barista too. Actually, I love coffee and I love the art of like making lattes and everything. And so I definitely want to learn that while I'm there. But the coffee shop is called Ipsento. It's on Milwaukee.
Okay, that's like a block from where we are right now. We go there all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you make the like little mini ones that they serve in the morning?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those are very pretty.
I mean, I just started like this last week, so I've only have a few days under me. But I might be taking over like the head donut position. So might get creative with the donut flavors and everything. So but yeah, it's really cool. It's a cool little operation of making the donuts, and yeah, it's fun.
Very cool.
Cool. Well, we go there a lot, so we might.
Well, I'm working Tuesday through Friday, so if you stop in the morning. I leave around like 10:30, so.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah,
we'll come and say hi.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, sounds good.
Perfect. All right.
All right. Thanks. Have a great evening.
All right.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Alex.
You too. I don't know if you guys can. I can just end, or if you guys are still cooking and you guys want to stay on this, because as soon as I leave, I think it just shuts the whole thing down.
We can have.
I'll send you the link.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll do
Zoom.
Okay, no problem. All right. Well, you guys have a great night, and well, let me know when you want to do this again.
We'll do it. Thanks, Alex.
Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.